So much has happened in the past 2 weeks, and so many important things have transpired in our nation and in South Carolina. And we're not going to cover any of it because we have with us in the studio a guest who is too important to be wasting time talking about the longest shutdown in U.S. government history. Donald Trump literally standing at his desk frozen while an old man lay dying next to him. Nancy Mace assuming the role of the Queen of Karens in an airport temper tantrum. Okay, that story we might talk about.
Please.
But first, I want to introduce to our Black, White, and Blue in the South listeners a man who is an incredible representative serving Richland and Kershaw counties in South Carolina, a man who will be, with our help, the next governor of South Carolina, Dr. Jermaine Johnson.
Oh, man. Got the applause and everything ready, man. Listen, I appreciate y'all for having me on.
That's real. We're piping that in from next door. That's no sound effect. All right, calm down, guys. That was enough. So, Dr. Representative, Your Honor, Your Holiness, Your Excellency, whatever it is. I learned last week your deaconess.
I am a deacon.
Right?
That's correct. Yeah.
You announced your run for governor just 12 days ago. Yeah. Have you had any podcast appearances since that day?
You know, I don't think so.
Oh, okay, good. Hold on.
A Black, White, and Blue in the South exclusive.
Oh, yeah.
Good. I had that in my back pocket. Jermaine is in town today.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Wasn't that perfect? I don't know what I was going to play if you said, yes, I've been on a dozen podcasts and you're just one of many, but we have now the exclusive since the official announcement. He is in town today because he is the keynote speaker for tonight's Carnell Drummond Mays banquet, and I actually have the honor of being able to introduce you before you give your keynote speech.
Oh, man.
And I may have a little surprise lined up in that introduction.
Oh, Lord, here we go.
So give you something to stew upon. But actually, the first question I want to ask, because I know you're not going to be asked this by anybody else, did you realize you have a Wikipedia page?
Yo, so I looked this up, might have been yesterday, man, and so I realized there was a Wikipedia something that was there for basketball before, and then when I looked up yesterday, because I wanted to see if my wife was on the internet, and all of a sudden it says Jermaine Johnson, politician. I was like, what the heck? Where did this come from? So, I mean, my daughter, she thinks I'm famous now because, you know, I showed her this stuff.
I want a Wikipedia page. Jamil, do you have a Wikipedia page?
No.
No. So the fact that we're talking to somebody with a Wikipedia page, I am so impressed.
It's crazy.
Did you read it for accuracy?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
No.
Well, it seems accurate. Yeah. And it's also weird that you can actually go and see the history of who's edited your page, and a bunch of strangers are out there
really
putting this together on your behalf.
No, I feel like I need to go look at it.
And they're correcting each other and updating each other, and it actually has been updated with your gubernatorial announcement.
Shut up.
That is there at the end.
Yeah,
so
I'm going to check that out, man. They have all,
Take a look right there. Basketball, professional, political career, House rep, representatives, and then gubernatorial campaign. And there it says on October 28th, 2025, he announced his candidacy.
It's crazy to know that like so many people out there are actually paying attention to things that I'm doing. You know? It's like,
absolutely. Well, you certainly... there's certainly some interesting things on there, and that's not the only source of information about you out on the internet, man. You are way out there.
Oh my God.
That is for sure. So I won't bore you by reading your life story as told by Wikipedia, but you came out with a campaign launch video that looked like it cost $1 million to put together. So if you don't mind, I will go ahead and play it here because if there's anybody who needs this spread far and wide, man, it is you. This is a worthwhile video to show. So let's give this a watch.
Growing up, every new beginning felt like a dead end. Lost my brother at 5 years old. Went to 7 different high schools. We kept getting kicked out of houses when we couldn't make ends meet. But through faith in God, I learned that a new beginning can become a brighter day. And brighter days come for the hardworking, the believers, and the born again. I'm Jermaine Johnson, and I'm a different kind of Democrat. I'm a deacon, a husband, a father. I was captain at the College of Charleston, and as a gun owner, I'm committed to protecting our freedoms. 5 years ago, when I looked around and saw the same politicians give the same results, I knew I had to do something. So I took them all party, and I won. Big. Because we gotta call out Democrats when they aren't getting the job done. Same thing for Republicans, like Nancy Mace. She's in Washington chasing cameras, driving up prices, while cutting health care for people who need it most. And so, I'm running for governor. To fix our crumbling roads, lead the way on mental health care, and put more money in people's pockets. It's time for a new beginning and a brighter day to build a new South Carolina together.
Oh, that was a fantastic message.
I tell you, man, every time I look at that, man, I get chills for myself. Looking at that, and my daughter, the 3-year-old, she knows it now. I mean, it's just, oh Lord, man.
I can only hope one day they make a video like that about me while I'm still alive. Like, that would be the key. I want to see it while I'm still here. But those were really some interesting angles you took in that video. It seemed like you went out of your way to not be labeled as the typical Democrat liberal, right? You took some positions that may not sound normally a Democratic, at least were portrayed as not having those positions. And I guess that was a conscious decision.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I mean, everybody knows I've been a different type of Democrat. And I'm going to start by saying there was a comment that I saw you wrote on a post. I don't know how long ago it was.
Uh-oh. All right. Well, we're out of time. It was nice.
It was a good one. It was good.
Okay. We got plenty of time.
Yes, I've been saying this to people all across the state. I said Bill Kimmler. He wrote a post that said Jermaine is the least political politician I've ever met. Oh. And I've been telling people this. I've been saying, because I couldn't have explained it any better than you wrote on that post there. Because that's exactly what I said in the video. I'm a different type of Democrat, and I don't believe in playing politics about people's lives. People are dying every single day, and we get up there, we push red or green on these voting buttons, and it's like they just go about their day, and it truly affects me. And I've told people all the time, I believe in term limits. I've given myself a term limit,
I gave myself five terms as a House rep, which is 10 years.
That's correct.
Nobody else has done that.
Exactly. I'm a different type of Democrat, man. So I believe that the seat belongs to the people. I believe we need to be training up the next generation. I believe succession planning, because the seats always belong to the people, and we need to act like that, man. And we need to stop trying to make careers out of these things, and we really, truly need to be investing in people. So the way I look at things, I'm not doing the social issues. I'm not doing all that crazy stuff that we see on Fox News or CNN. Listen, I want to make people's lives better, and that's all I'm about.
You sound like Dr. Brooks there with the succession planning.
I got excited just then. I'm trying to contain myself.
Right. Now, I will have to say, you do not yet have the name recognition statewide that you need. I mean, I'll tell you just here, honestly, I'm shouting to the rooftops, I get to speak to Jermaine Johnson. Like, this is the coolest thing. And I'm telling you, just even at church this morning, they're like, who? So it's my job, and it's all of our jobs to make sure you're getting your name out there, because if there's one thing I can observe, you're doing your part. Yeah. Like, I've seen you in McCormick twice already before you even announced for governor. Like, nobody goes to McCormick twice.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like I'm known by everybody but nobody all at the same time.
Right.
And it's like, in particular that video of where I was speaking on the House floor. It's been seen by somewhere close to 7 million people. It's been 7 million views, collectively around the United States and around the world. I was just with Malik Yoba. He's a big time actor that was in a lot of Tyler Perry movies and things like that. But I was just with him right now, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I saw that video. Yeah, I saw you." I'm like, man, so it's made it to Hollywood, but it hadn't made it to Greenwood. So it's like, it just makes you wonder what's the pathway to getting more name recognition in smaller towns and places like this across, South Carolina versus the masses of people who are on the internet every single day.
Well, if there's anybody who's built for word of mouth success, it is you. Because you're interesting, right? You're dynamic, you're clear spoken, you're energetic. You're not bad to look at, if I may say so, as well.
Listen, she decided to marry me, so I must have did something right,
And by the way, he's referring to his wife, Evan, that is sitting here in the studio with us. Wanted to make sure we knew who you were talking about, lest our listeners get all levels of confused.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this. I know a prominent couple in McCormick County who saw you speak the first time you came down there, and the guy pulled me aside and says, I haven't seen anybody that got me that excited since I saw a young Barack Obama in 2008. I mean, that was his words. And this is a guy that's been around a long time and supported everybody who ran for office. And so for him to say that said something. That's an older white guy that said that. So you've got this appeal that I think is going to work. We just need time.
Yes.
And then we need all of us, you and me, and I'm looking at you, Jamil. We need to be out there doing this. That viral video, we did play that on our show back in March.
Yeah.
We did a full 2 episodes on that entire 19-hour budget debate.
Oh, where I stood up there?
And it wasn't just you. It was the whole thing. If you want an entertaining listen on your drives throughout the state, I'm going to have to send you links to those 2 episodes because we saw things that I don't think you even noticed in that whole debate. That was a wild one.
Yeah, it was crazy.
You have a documentary, I know people bring this up, called I've Got a Yard, and it was announced back a year ago now. A year ago, November, they held the theatrical trailer.
Yes.
Where is this yard?
Oh, man. Well, it's phenomenal. And I have to give people just a little bit of information about why it's called. It's actually called I Got Myself a Yard. Well, one day, this is before I was even elected, before I was doing anything like that, but I was in the community helping people out. And I was in my yard y'all know it's hot in South Carolina, y'all. Y'all know it's hot. And it was very hot one day, and I had to cut my grass. And I was upset about having to cut my grass. So, I was outside and I was sweating. I took my shirt off and I was just angry. And then God spoke to me. I'm a deacon. I believe in God. And he spoke to me during that moment. He said, humble yourself. And I looked around and I said, I got myself a yard. And I saw the bushes. I said, I got myself a yard. And I said, man, I've been homeless. My brother was murdered. I lost another brother. I lost family members. I went to 7 different high schools. I haven't had anything in my life. And here I am complaining about cutting my grass. I said, I was like, how dare you complain about cutting your grass, cutting something that God has blessed you with? Man, I got off my little tractor so fast. I got on my knees in my yard. I started praying. I started thanking God. The tears started flowing. I was just so grateful for that opportunity to have something that I was blessed with to care for like that. And man, I cut my grass, got back in my tractor, cut my grass, edged up the bushes, cut the hedges, did everything like that. And I was just so appreciative of the fact that I was even blessed with something like that to have a place to even lay my head, man.
Right. You've told that story about you losing your brothers.
Yes.
And it's a story, I don't know if you could ever get tired of sharing it, but it connects with people because people have their own stories. I lost my brother when he was 19 in an accident at home. And so it makes you a person. It makes you real. How do you deal with the grief of that? Does that sneak up on you every once in a while?
Every once in a while it does, man. I always think about, what, because I lost 2 brothers, and then the first one was murdered by somebody who was supposed to be his best friend. I always think about what type of a relationship I could have had with him, what type of an uncle he could have been with my kids, what type of a secret handshake maybe we would have had or something like that. I always think about those types of things. He was a twin. So his twin brother is still alive and dealing with the grief, every year. But me and him are very close. We talk about things. He bought me my first pair of cowboy boots, and we have a fantastic relationship. My other older brother, he passed away in 2015 in a car accident in Mexico while we were playing basketball out there. But one of the good things that I believe came out of, the last moments that I was able to spend with my brother was, he had told me about a month before he passed, he said, Jermaine, you have no idea how proud I am of you. And I carry that with me everywhere that I go, knowing that my brother was proud of me, and he actually said it before he passed away.
That's a good story and a reminder that we all need to be saying those words while we still can. We take it for granted, right? So say the words as often as you have. Now, in addition to I Got Myself a Yard, which I hear is still looking for a distributor, right? So
it is, but we were notified just the other day that we actually just received an award, Social Impact Award in the UK.
No kidding.
It's in a film festival. It'll be playing, I think, later on this month and through on next year as well. But it just received an award, the Social Impact Award.
Well, I got to figure the producers are kicking themselves for ending it too soon.
Yeah. We're talking about doing some more streaming.
There needs to be. You launched your gubernatorial campaign,
right?
Like the good stuff has just started, and so there needs to be a sequel being developed. Oh, I think we lost Jamil. I'll keep an eye out for her. She must have had to drop off.
All right.
But we'll continue on. Hey, in addition to You've Got Yourself a Yard, It looks like you got yourself. Hold on, I want to bring this up. Looks like you got yourself a book too.
Yeah, man.
So why you been keeping this Amazon bestseller a secret? I've got up on the screen now a book written by Dr. Jermaine Johnson Sr. called Prepping for Preparation.
Yeah.
And I anticipate any minute now it's going to zoom to the top of the bestseller list. What's this book about?
Yeah, so you hear my story. When I came home from playing basketball, I created a nonprofit organization called New Economic Beginnings Foundation. And it was aimed at helping individuals to make sure that they don't go through what I went through coming up, to give people a second chance or sometimes a first chance with life skills and soft skills development. So I started this nonprofit, and I drove around to all these different companies around Richland County, and I got contracts with these different businesses saying, hey, if these people come through my program and successfully complete this curriculum, will you give them an opportunity? Will you give them a job? And they all agreed to it, and it was almost set up like a nonprofit staffing agency. So they would then pay, for the program to continue on, so we can keep allowing these people to get opportunities. And we got the curriculum sponsored by the University of South Carolina. So everybody that went through the program will receive continuing education units going through, so they actually have something to put on their resume. And based on that curriculum, I wrote a book on that curriculum, and that's that book right there, man.
All right.
So it's giving people opportunities.
You know who else had a secret book that didn't tell us?
Who's that?
Sylvia Wright, who's running for state superintendent of education. We had to reveal that she also has an Amazon book out there.
Oh, man, I need to tell her.
All you secret authors. I don't know why that's not first, but that's a really cool. Hey, you mentioned.
Wait,
go ahead, Jamil.
I want us to pause and grab one thing here. I want people to understand that not only were you working for the people long before you were even an elected official, so you came back from overseas, saw a need, and developed a program that would meet the need.
Yes.
That to me is a requirement for our next governor, and I think you met that. You saw the need, developed a program to fix the need, and did that all from a point of passion. Carry on, Bill. I just want to help the people.
Oh, no, that's beautiful, Jamil.
Thank you.
Beautiful. You did bring up basketball a little bit, and I got to tell you, what I know about basketball is really little. Right? I'm a middle-aged white guy. And the last time I got involved with basketball was when I played this game on the Commodore 64. This is Dr. J and Larry Bird. This is a game I played before you were even born. Right? So this was my experience with basketball, and that was about it. But I understand that in your career, first of all, you were drafted in the NBA Development League, and you got to actually play or work out with James Harden.
Yes,
and Amari Stoudemire.
Yes,
I know those names.
Yeah, Kevin Love. I used to play with DeMar DeRozan. I played with Elton Brand, Metta World Peace, Paul Pierce. A lot of those guys. Even Masterpiece and Lil Romeo, I used to work out with him. So I mean, I've met a lot of these NBA guys. Dwight Howard. A lot of those guys.
Oh, that is cool. Jamil, your boy, is he still looking to play ball overseas? I know that was in his plans.
Yes, he is. He is still training, so we're going to see what that looks like now.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Best of luck to him. I want to talk about your education a bit, and then we're going to get into your political world. Your undergraduate degree from the College of Charleston in 2008. You played ball for 6 years. Then you went and got your master's degree from Strayer University in 2014 and a doctorate from North Central University in 2018 in business administration and organizational leadership.
Yes.
So I always wondered what the doctorate was, but it was out there for everybody to see. And the fact that you were the first in your family to earn a doctorate, that was really cool. I was the first in my family to graduate college, but it was actually my mother who was the first to get a doctorate.
Oh, man.
Believe it or not. My mom went to college the same time I did. So she had me when she was 19 and then 3 more kids after that.
Yeah.
And then when I was looking at colleges when I was in high school, she got the bug. And so she went to college, she graduated, and she ended up going to medical school and becoming a doctor of osteopathic medicine in her 40s.
Dang.
I know. And
that's impressive.
She started a career. She made me look bad. I was the smart one in the family, but she made me look bad. So never too late to go pursue your dreams.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I got all this education for somebody who went to 7 different high schools. I went to 7 different high schools. My freshman year of high school, I had like a 0.8 GPA that first semester.
Oh,
yeah.
How hard do you have to work to get a 0.8?
I say that all the time. That's literally what I always say. I say, man, you have to try to get grades that bad. But during that time, this is one thing that I like to talk to educators about. Is say, some of the kids that you're teaching, you may not understand what their home life is like. Right. You don't understand. You're talking to them about bringing a pencil, being prepared for school, but yet they were living in a motel last night, figuring out what to even eat. And that was me a lot of the time. It was like, man, I was living in a poverty, stricken place with prostitution and drugs and all type of other stuff. And I go to school and you're like, where's this homework assignment from last night? I'm like, yo, can I have a sandwich? Right. Stuff like that. So, one of my teachers actually found out that how I was living and what I was coming from, and when she found that out, she actually came to school the next day with like a bag of toiletries that she had been collecting from different hotels and places like that on her travels, and she gave them to me to say, here's some, just something like that. But after that, she kind of softened up on me a little bit and understood a little bit more what I was going through. But I like to tell these types of stories to my educators so they can understand that, hey, you may have to dig a little bit deeper to know what the home life is like for these kids and know the struggles that they're coming from.
Wow. So after your education, after you started your nonprofit and became its founder, you then got a little bit of the political bug. And I think you joined forces with this guy right here.
Yeah.
Right? Mr. Andrew Yang.
Andrew Yang.
So this is going back to the 2020 election cycle. So this would have been 2019 or so when we had 23 different candidates for president.
A whole bunch of them, man. Yeah, it was crazy.
So did you went to the SCDP convention in 2019 where they had all 23 speak, right?
Yep.
Andrew Yang was the only one I got a handshake with. I didn't get any contact with anybody else, but I did get one with Andrew Yang.
I'll have to let him know you said that. Yeah. I still talk to him all the time.
Yeah,
I had heard him on the Freakonomics podcast. That's one of my favorite shows, and so I was impressed by what he had to say. What was it about him that drew you to even get involved in that world? You weren't running for office yourself.
I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't doing nothing.
But next thing you know, you blink and you're his state director here in South Carolina. So how do you go from nothing to that?
Yeah, so I was involved with the Young Democrats, and I was one of the vice chairs of Young Democrats of Central Midlands. And I was looking around all these 20-something presidential candidates about who I was going to even get behind or support or believe in or whatever. And the first person who I really believed in and wanted to get connected with was Cory Booker. Cory Booker was so dynamic. He was speaking. He talked about love and compassion and all those other things. But no disrespect to Cory Booker, but during that time I didn't hear a lot about solutions, like being solution oriented. And and I thought about how people were supporting Donald Trump just based on emotions. Like they just loved the emotional aspect of Donald Trump is what drew a lot of people to him. And that's what I was looking at Cory Booker like. It was like my emotional drawing to him. And then so I said, if I just support him just based up on my emotions, then I'm no better than somebody who just supports Donald Trump based on emotions. So I went back to the drawing board to start looking up, who was running for president, who was thinking about it. And I came across a guy who was talking about he wanted to give everybody $1,000 a month, UBI, because of AI. And I said, $1,000 a month? I said, man, that could have changed my life. $1,000 a month would have changed my life, when I was living in these motels and when I was homeless and going through the situations. And I said, man, what's behind this? So I started researching and looking him up and learning everything about everything he was proposing. And that's when I started saying, yo, I'm supporting Andrew Yang. So I was going around telling everybody about Andrew Yang. I was like, man, this is the guy. Like, we need to get behind this guy. And at the same time, his campaign was looking for anybody that was supporting or even knew who he was. And they called the Young Democrats, and they were like, listen, we got the perfect guy. All he does is talk about Andrew Yang. And that's how we got connected.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how we got connected on that one.
Wow, that's awesome. I guess I like the guy. When he decided to run for mayor of New York City, he started saying some things that I thought were a little off the wall, and I kind of...
I get you.
I was like, I liked you before, but maybe not so much nowadays. But I still think he's a force to be reckoned with, and I do hope he doesn't disappear from the world. He's got a vision that many don't.
He's still around. He's still fighting.
Do you still talk to him?
Oh, all the time.
Okay.
He's a donor of mine. He's connected me with lots of people to help support our campaign here for governor. He wanted me to let everybody know that he will be down here at some point during the campaign to do some stuff for us.
I do know quite a few people here in Greenwood that were big supporters of him when he ran for president.
Yeah.
That's neat. So now getting to your political career, you caught the bug. You saw what he was doing. You got to meet and greet a bunch of people, and you thought, man, I know I can do this too. So you decided in 2020 after Andrew Yang had discontinued he suspended his campaign. He said, you're going to run for state house. Now, the state house seat that you ran for was already occupied by a Democrat.
Yes.
A Democrat who had been there for over a decade, almost 2 decades.
22 years.
22 years. Thank you for helping with the math. That's why you're the doctor. I just have 2 master's degrees, so I can't do that brain math like you can. Why did you decide to take on an incumbent Democrat? It seems like that would be something that would have been very discouraged.
It was discouraged. You got to understand that, during that time, a lot was happening in 2020. George Floyd's situation had also happened. But I actually did not want to run against him. I went and I met with him, and I asked him, I said, sir, I'm interested in running for this seat after you retire. And he told me out of his own mouth, I don't believe in succession planning. This is what he told me. He's literally 50 years older than me. And he was in his 80s, like 83 or 82 at the time. And when he told me he didn't believe in succession planning and he was in his 80s, I looked at him and I said, then I looked at my daughter and I said, what does this 85, 80 whatever year old man have in common with my 7-year-old daughter? How can he inspire her about a future? And I looked around my community and I saw some things that just need to have some change and somebody with some energy to go out here and bring the change. And when I saw that, I said, listen, I have to run. I have to run now because everybody else is just going to sit back and if not me, then who? So I went ahead, decided to run. And when I decided to run, you understand what happened. Jermaine, you're too young. Jermaine, you're too inexperienced. Jermaine, you need to wait your turn. Jermaine, nobody's going to vote for a black guy. I just said whatever and, ignored it all. And I got out there and senators came out against me, representatives came out against me, school board came out against me, sheriff came out against me. Everybody came out against me. But I said, listen, I'm not running against those people. I'm running for the people. And on election night, I got 76% of the vote to unseat a 22-year incumbent to become the first African-American and the youngest to represent House District 80.
Well, you got the nomination during that primary by
correct.
unseating him, but then you did run against a Republican and wiped the mat with him.
Yeah, man. And, but my thing was I still didn't want to look at him as like, just somebody I'm just going to roll past. I said, I'm just truly running for the people.
So that was in District 80 at the time. 2 years later, in kind of, I would call it an unfortunate and sad circumstance, redistricting occurred. And next thing you know, you're in District 70 going for that seat against another incumbent Democrat, Wendy Brawley, who I thought was she was a fine representative.
I always call her my sister, man. I still call her my sister to this day, man. And we talked about the entire situation. And one thing that I wanted to make sure I never did was to do any attacks against Representative Brawley, because I looked up to her, and I always called her my sister. I always sang her praises and everything. I'm not the go low, get dirty, mudslinging type guy, and she's always been a friend of mine. And we talked everything out, and I just happened to win that one.
Well, that's fantastic, and we're glad you won that. And the same Republican ran against you again, and this time he didn't even, it wasn't even a blip. It was a 56-point spread. But then 2 years after that, you find yourself yet again in another district, District 50.
52.
Did this give you flashbacks of your childhood? Were you always moving from one spot to another?
Bro, seriously, I can't. I've got to be going down in history as the guy who has represented the most districts in the history of South Carolina without actually moving a house.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't move at all. I've been in the same spot, but 3 different districts in 3 terms, and I don't understand what the deal is. But hey, we're here. New 52 is here. So.
That's why your documentary was called "I Have a Yard and Not I Have a District," because you don't know what district you got any day when you wake up. Yeah. So I think that's great. But I will say you ran unopposed this last time.
Yes.
So aside from fellow Democrats as opponents, you really haven't been battle tested by a Republican candidate yet.
Right.
So this is interesting. Does that give you any room for pause, or you think, nah?
Nope, not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all, man. Because in my district, if you look at the numbers, I actually do better in my district than even Congressman Clyburn does in my district.
Right.
Because I have a lot of crossover support. I have a lot of Republicans that actually vote for me. because they know I go to their meetings. I go talk to them all the time. I'm always with them because I don't believe in just representing a single party. I'm not just the representative for the Democrats.
Right.
I'm the representative for the people of District 52. And if you're Republican in my district or Green Party or Independent or whatever you want to be, I'm still your representative. So.
Well, as we saw in your campaign launch video, crossing the aisle and having a bipartisan message is important to you.
Right.
I did listen to your episode on Bourbon in the Back Room earlier this year. I'm a subscriber to them as well, and you emphasized your independent streak. In fact, you were one of a handful of Democrats that voted against the House budget bill that Jamil and I covered for 3 hours, 4 hours. That was a long episode, but then it was an even longer ass debate. And you voted against it along with the House Freedom Caucus.
Yep.
Explain yourself, sir.
Yeah. Well, in that bill, they cut funding to things like Children's Trust. Children's Trust, which reported over 13,000 cases of abuse and neglect, last year alone. And at the same time, we have, crazy RJ May sitting in there knowing that what he's doing and sitting in that back corner over there in the State House. We cut funding to things like the EMS closet. We cut funding to sickle cell anemia research.
For the first year in many years, they decided no earmarks. They just got rid of all of that discretionary spending.
They got rid of everything.
And that's how you would bring money to your districts.
Correct. That's how people would bring money to their district for projects. So I actually, 2 years ago, I allocated $500,000 to the town of Eastover to create the Lower Richland Tech Academy. Ooh. The Lower Richland Tech Academy, what it does is it teaches low coding and no coding technologies to people in the rural parts of the Lower Richland County. And if you go ask the mayor of Eastover, South Carolina right now, to ask him what that program has done for his town. We've created over 30 small businesses just in those 2 years alone, with people who created programs such as like an Uber-like lawn care service. They created something for gardening for differently abled people. I mean, they've done all different types of businesses that they've created out of that little bit of $500,000 that we were able to allocate to the town of Eastover. This is what that money is for. Taxpayer money is to make your lives better, to fix roads and infrastructure, to reinvest into these different communities. But they want to take the money and send it to build one school in a veterinary school in the upstate and call it Harvey Pillar. It's
$500 million.
$500 million. And then the very next year they say, well, no money for any of these things that I just named there. And that was my main issue, because on top of all of that, on top of saying we're not going to give this money back to the people, we're also going to try to put an extra pay in there for the legislators. And I was like, dude, are you serious? I said, do you not realize how bad that's going to look for everybody? I said, it's going to look ridiculous. You want to put a pay raise in there, but also remove funding for these communities that need the money?
I think they have gone well past caring what people think.
Yeah, well, that's not me.
That's just gone.
Yeah.
In between the Trump federal cuts and now the state cuts, these nonprofits, I don't know what's going to survive.
Yeah, some of the doors are closing.
Yeah, we see that. So continuing talking about your bipartisanship, which I think truly distinguishes you from just about any other candidate I've ever seen out there. You had a conversation that I had even messaged you about back in the day when you had your own podcast, the Jermaine Johnson Show.
Yes, sir.
I was a subscriber to that, by the way. I did enjoy 3 episodes that you did cut?
Man, yeah.
That was you weren't battling with Joe Rogan at any point, but it was a good show. But I do want to play this clip where you had interviewed Senator Matt Leber in probably one of the most shocking cross the aisle conversations I've ever seen. Yeah. Let's give this a watch.
What's going on, y'all? And welcome to a special edition of the Jermaine Johnson Show. I know y'all probably never thought in a million years you'd see State Representative Jermaine Johnson sitting here interviewing Senator-elect Matt Leber.
Well, I've been sworn in. I'm
no longer Senator-elect, Senator Matt Leber, man.
I appreciate it, Brad. Yeah, I appreciate it. You're up and coming in the world. You got your own movie. Getting famous. Are you going to be a governor? I understand.
Oh, Lord. So here we go.
It's in the news everywhere.
Don't start the rumors.
All right, we'll stop it right there. So for those that don't know, Senator Matt Leber was a House representative who moved up into the Senate, and he took on one of the sister senators. He knocked out Senator Sandy Senn in a primary because they were unhappy with the Republican sister senators. And so he had stepped up and was one of the ones to take her on. And now he's embroiled in some controversy of his own involving, like Jamil's just like a cat licking her chops with some good milk there, involving infidelity and domestic violence. And the story is just getting uglier and uglier. But before we go back to that, I just want to point out, I recognize this place. This is Soul House, right?
Yep, right downtown. Yep.
Yeah, because I sat on that same couch.
My guy Priest Jacobs down there, man.
That's right. That's right. He opened the doors and allowed me to do an interview with another podcast right there on that couch. I was like, oh, man. My cheek sat right next to where Leber's cheeks were. But I tell you what, the artwork that you had, let's go back to that video. Look at that beautiful artwork, strong African-American women and some beautiful photography there. Do you know what was on the wall when I got there? Here, let's take a look. This was the art on the wall that I walked into. Some really demented Mickey Mouse and Goofy art. So we got no strong women on the walls. I don't know what you did. I don't know if you took that art with you when you left or what.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, that's what I got. Let's get that image off. I don't want to see that anymore. But that was really interesting. But I do want to point out that Matt Leber did drop something. Now, this was November of 2024 when that was recorded. He talked about you running for governor then.
Yeah.
What's the deal with that?
He was sending me messages and talking, saying, Jermaine, if you do decide to run for governor,
were you thinking about it back then?
But other people were thinking about it on my behalf.
So you're saying he planted the seed for your governorship?
Just about him and Joe Bustos from the Post and Courier and now with the state. I mean, these people have been talking about this for a good while. And one of the things, matter of fact, Matt Leber posted on Twitter, I guess X now. He posted on. He said, Jermaine, if he decides to run for governor, he probably will be the best Democratic candidate we've seen in his lifetime. And it's because of the fact that I'm willing to sit down with anybody and have a conversation with anybody.
And I texted you this. I said, I'm honest. I don't know that I could. Knowing what I knew about him and his policies and his Freedom Caucus links and his history, I don't know that I'd want to be in the same room with him. But then you show maturity. It's like, listen, the dude is in that seat.
Yeah.
If you want to get anything done, you got to work with him.
You got to do it, man.
And everybody else. And I think that is a message that I admire, even if I can't follow it just yet. But I will aspire to.
Well, I want to lead by example, man.
So I was there, by the way, at your gubernatorial announcement last week.
Yes, I saw you, and I appreciate you for showing up and giving the support, man.
Well, I don't know that you appreciate us enough, because let me tell you, Jamil and I had the task of standing outside in the rain and directing people inside as they walked up those steps of the state capitol. So if it wasn't for Jamil and I, you would have had an empty room to announce to. So I just want to make sure that we get credit.
I'm going to give you a ticket to the inauguration. You and Jamil, y'all have tickets to the inauguration. You will be there with me, and you won't have to stand outside and direct traffic. All right, so y'all can actually be inside, hang out with me.
I want to show you a clip, and Dr. Evan, this is of your introduction of your husband. I had to cut out most of it for time, but I wanted to show at least the opening and then the scene where you walked in from a different point of view, because when you walk in, maybe you're clueless, you don't know what's going on, but I want you to see what I saw.
Evan Johnson. And for those who know Jermaine well, I am the real Dr. Johnson. And Jermaine is my husband. Jermaine and I met 17 years ago at the College of Charleston. We have been together for 15 years and married for 13. He is the love of my life, my husband, my best friend, and father to our 4 children. It is both an honor and blessing to be standing here before you today. South Carolina, please join me in welcoming the love of my life, Representative Deacon Dr. Jermaine Johnson.
what an opening.
Oh,
Now,
my God,
I have to point out, you did not stop to give me a hug when you walked by.
I didn't see you, man.
I got to tell you, I'm right there in front of you. So I was 2 inches from you, and you gave hugs to everybody but me. I got nothing. I got no love. I got nothing.
I came all the way to Greenwood to see you.
All right, well, all right. So I'll accept your apology now. And your speech is out there. We'll provide links to your entire gubernatorial speech, which I think is great, but we're going to have to pass on that for time today, unfortunately. What were your thoughts as you saw that crowd and saw people cheering? Have you had anything like that before?
No, not like that, man. That was phenomenal, man.
And what would you tell to the 10-year-old boy, the 10-year-old Jermaine Johnson, who was struggling and worried about life, that would be a scene in his future one day?
See, now you're getting me emotional now, man.
I know. That's what I'm good at. Ask Jamil. I get her to cry just about in every episode. But just think about how far you've come from where you were to that scene right there. Man, that is a story that everybody can get behind and rally behind. So let me switch topics then, and I'm going to go right into your top issues as a governor then. Yeah. So we got to get to some issues and talk about why you're running, aside from your backstory, aside from the feels, which is all there. I saw your top 3 issues as infrastructure, mental health, and educational opportunities. Did you spend a lot of time thinking on those, or was that something you've always lived, and now that you get to voice it as a candidate for governor?
Well, my eyes are sweating now because of you, man. Jesus Christ, man. Very emotional right now. No, but for me, so y'all know, even before I did my exploratory committee, even before I launched my, this candidacy for governor, I did a statewide tour. And my statewide tour was with a bunch of, disaffected voters and individuals who were in gangs and former gang members who have now been trying to change communities and all that. And as we were traveling this state, talking to people, they were all saying pretty much the same thing: infrastructure and mental health, infrastructure, mental health, infrastructure, mental health, and, opportunities and resources and things. And I truly believe in not coming to the people with my own platform. I want the people to give me a platform. Tell me what's important to you so I can run on that, so I can make sure I'm representing you right. And, that's where it came from. It came from the people of South Carolina because, those are the people who want me to represent it that way.
Fantastic. Well, listen, I got one more thing I need to play, but we need to have you back.
Yes.
Because we only covered half the things.
Yeah,
on
we
my
got
sheet.
to do a part 2, bro.
There's going to be a part 2.
And we got to have you back because I can't talk because we got too much to cover and not enough time, and I want to engage too. You got to come back.
Jamil is a talker, let me tell you. We were missing a lot with her not being right here in the studio, let me tell you. She's the one that makes me interesting. I am nothing without her, and she knows it. But I did come across this controversial clip, and this, I'm not here just to lather you up here. I really want to get into some of the hard questions. We came across this rumor in the rumor mill, and I want to play this clip and just want to see if you have anything to say about it. So here we go.
Jets insider Nick Faria confirming that Jermaine Johnson will not be traded by the New York Jets. I would say a sigh of relief for Jets fans, as Jermaine Johnson tweeted the "I'm not leaving" gif earlier in the week.
God.
Wow. I was really shocked that you have decided to stay with the New York Jets, and it makes me question your decision making.
My apologies, man. It's funny that people always are confusing me and this guy together. It's like, there's another guy named Jermaine Johnson out there. So that's why you see Jermaine Johnson, politician, on the Wikipedia page.
Oh, that's a different Jermaine Johnson.
Yeah.
Okay. God, it's confusing out there, this internet.
Because I'm a Cowboys fan, bro. So,
I was having good vibes with you until you just said that.
Don't tell me you're something like an Eagles fan or something.
Born and raised, brother.
How did I see what I'm saying? I knew it.
I was born in Philadelphia, and I've had relatives on the team.
Oh, God.
Born and raised thick and thin.
I am so sorry, man.
You know what? This episode's not even going to air now. This is I can't release this.
I just knew it. I knew he was an Eagles fan, dude. I just knew it.
I was over here clutching my pearls. I could not believe you said Cowboys out loud.
A quiet Saints fan. You don't even need. You can sit down.
Exactly. If you're a Saints fan, you have nothing to say.
I know.
Get yourself a winning record. You can come to the conversation.
Please do. Yeah. Jeez.